Hello, anybody who's watching this. Welcome to my reaction to railway employees Baboon, Tales from a Wild by here. And this is another video recommended by Tom Vinton. Thank you very much. And I am his intellectual will help you. If you don't know, Baboon is a monkey. That's where my intellect runs out, and I'm gonna say if you want to recommend me a video, you can use my donation link in the description below, and I'll react to it as soon as I can. But for now, let's start. Okay.
Too often on Tales from the Bottle do we focus on war, death, and destruction. The fact that those topics seem to pull a lot more views probably says something about human nature, and the fact that I exploit this by making more videos on those topics probably says something about me. But please consider I have to spend a full week researching, writing, drawing, recording, and editing every single one of these topics.
That's one of my questions I did not ask, but I had in my head. If he draws it himself, if he edits it himself, and seems like it's a yes. So he's very committed to this. That's good. That's at least he was committed in September 2020, so he's committed. He probably earns enough money to hire somebody, at least for an editing, but maybe he enjoyed this enough to do it himself. So why not? I'm not saying anything bad about it. It's actually a good thing. And I wish I was this way. But I might be this way. I did enjoy editing when I was doing it, and when I eventually will do something again with editing, but I'm just too lazy to do anything at this point.
That's a long time to be steeped in war, death, and destruction, especially when I'm making a new video every week. I do like to take a break from human misery every now and then. God knows my own is enough. So here's a story about a baboon working on a railway. In the late 1800s, James Wide, or Jumper Wide to his friends, was a double-leg amputee working on the railway line between Port Elizabeth and Cape Town in South Africa. Seems a bit cruel to nickname a double-leg amputee Jumper, but he had actually earned his name years before while he was working as a guard for the railway. He was known to jump and swing from car to car while working the line, hence the nickname Jumper, until one day he fell between two moving cars and lost his legs at the knees. And as the song goes, he ain't gonna jump no more. Having no legs was a bit of an obstacle on his career path as a guard, and Wide went unemployed for a while. Low though he was in physical form, he kept his spirits high, making a pair of peg legs and rejoining the railway, this time as a signalman at a small station in the town of Uitenhage.
I can't imagine how hard it is. Not just losing your legs, but also just literally hard physically to just walk on two peg legs. Just maybe he uses something like the crutches, but I don't see any in the picture, so maybe he just walks, and that's incredibly difficult. I would assume, because I never tried it, but I can barely walk on my flat legs, feet.
Although he was still able to walk with the aid of a crutch, White's mobility was greatly reduced. While he was able to perform his tasks as signalman, he lived half a mile away from the signal box, so the journey to and from work was a bit troublesome. Thus, he was inspired to build a small trolley with which he could wheel himself around on. James Wide worked like this for several years until one day he came across a life-changing scene at the Uitenhage marketplace.
A monkey?
An ox cart that was being driven by a monkey. A baboon, to be exact. Wide was astonished and approached the owner. The owner explained the monkey was unusually intelligent, so he had trained him to do some basic tasks for him. This gave James an idea. With his restricted mobility, such a helper would make his life much easier. He persuaded the owner to sell him the monkey. Sounds like a pretty hard sell, giving away your trained monkey, but honestly, the amount of people who probably stopped this guy to ask about the working monkey probably negated any of the time saved by the monkey doing the work. It's probably less hassle for him to just do everything himself. And so James named the monkey Jack, and took him to work with him every day. Jack soon became invaluable to James, learning to push and pull his trolley around, as well as providing companionship, alleviating the boredom and loneliness of working the signal box all day. And soon Jack picked up other tasks. When an approaching train required more coal, it would sound the whistle 4 times to alert James, who would then fetch the keys to the coal shed and have them ready for the driver. Observing this, Jack eventually learned that 4 whistles was the signal to fetch the keys, and started doing it himself. White even managed to teach Jack how to operate the railway signals, holding up a number of fingers to indicate which lever needed to be pulled. And suddenly, James White's job had become very easy, his workday probably being less intensive on him than an able-bodied signalman. From this point on, Jack was promoted from Jack the Baboon to Jack the Signalman. Isn't evolution amazing? He became a local celebrity, and passengers would sometimes toss him treats from the windows. James developed a unique bond with Jack, and the two became quite close. They came to enjoy their commute on the trolley, with Jack hopping on board for the ride when he had pushed the trolley to the top of a hill. James paid Jack his wages and alcohol, without which the monkey would supposedly sulk and refuse to perform his duties. Ah yes, monkey, railway signals, alcohol. A recipe for success. Well, apparently it was, because Jack the Signalman was reportedly very good at his job and never made a mistake. After 9 years of service, Jack developed tuberculosis and died in 1890, leaving James White broken-hearted and alone.
Oh, that's fucking sad.
There's the human misery. Well, I suppose it could only get away from it for so long. Today, Jack's skull is on display in the Albany Museum in Grahamstown, South Africa.
Okay.
So, if you ever find yourself in the area, make sure to pay tribute to the best goddamn signalman to ever live.
Oh, I merged with them. Ah, that's cute.
And while you're here, make sure to pay tribute to the best goddamn YouTuber to ever live. Me. Just like Jack, I will accept alcohol as my weekly wages, but I will also accept subscribing, following me on Twitter, checking out my second channel, Cuxer2, donating to me on Patreon, and buying my lovely, lovely t-shirts. Right, so, cheers.
Is that another bottle? Beat the Jesus. This is my lucky day. 2 bottles.
Oh, it's the...
Well, now I have none. Hello.
It's the Walking Dead VR. I wish I had a VR headset. God damn it, I want one. But by the time I probably will save enough money to buy a VR headset, there'll be a new version that's much better and a bit more expensive, and I'll have to save more money. But when I do that, there'll be a new one that's a bit better. You got the point. Anyway, the ending was fucking sad. God damn it. I guess I should have expected that. It is not a human that can live up to 100, or a turtle that can live. How long did turtle live? A lot. And not a fucking alligator that can live forever. Or a jellyfish, I don't know. Poor monkey, poor Jack. 9 years. 9 years of good work. Good, honest work. And yeah, I checked the bottom again, because in one of the previous videos I said, oh, I hopefully nothing gets to his head, and he called himself a best YouTuber, but there can be only one, that's me. No. He probably did this as a joke, hopefully. But what? And my thoughts went, yeah, he probably did this as a joke, so he's probably still the same guy he was in 2018 when he maybe started the channel. Maybe he started in 2017, maybe like in the end of 2017, I don't know. Maybe I'll check, I will check that after the video, so if that ever comes up again, I will scream, I will know. Anyway, thank you, anybody who watched this. Thank you, Tom Vinton, for recommending this through my donation link in the description below. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Anyway, thank you. Goodbye. And I hope to see you all next time. I hope to see you all next time without me losing the voice. And goodbye. Have a great life, because one of us has to.